Hi there, boys and girls. Welcome to Storytime with Mr. Riddle. And thank you so much to everyone who drove by to wave and say hi. That was a lot of fun seeing everybody. Today we're going to read the story When I Grow Up by Weird Al Yankovic. Your mom and dad probably know who Weird Al Yankovic is. Let me show you. There's a picture of him right there. Pretty silly. When I Grow Up. Illustrations are by Wes Hargis. In fact, in the story, you'll probably see Weird Al in the story. You'll have to look closely. He usually has glasses and crazy hair. Ready to start? I waited so long for the hours to pass, but soon it was noon there in Mrs. Crupp's class. And Thursday at noon, as I'm sure you know well, is the time of the week when we do show and tell. And this week, the subject so special to me was when I grow up, what am I going to be? That's something I'd really been thinking about, and I just couldn't wait to let all those things out. I'm sure some of you have been thinking what you want to be when you grow up. So when Mrs. Crupp said, "Who's ready to share?" you can guess who was there with his hand in the air. I raised both my hands just as high as they'd go, and I bounced up and down, and then, what do you know? Well, Mrs. Crupp picked me, yes, me, to go first. Oh, I was so happy, I thought I would burst. See with his hand in the air? He wants to go first. I proudly stood up and began my oration concerning the choice for my future vocation. Esteemed friends and colleagues, and dear Mrs. Crupp, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up. Why, I'll be the greatest chef you've ever seen. The world will go crazy for my haute cuisine. I'll tantalize taste buds with my rigatoni, sautéed with black truffles and pickled bologna, surrounded by kumquats and candied pig's feet, topped with shrimp-flavored lollipops. Bon appetit! My walls will be filled with awards that I've gotten for toast on a stick and my Twinkies au gratin. My kitchen will be the most famous in France, so make reservations 12 years in advance. There's no doubt about it, I'm certain, you see, the world-renowned chef is what I'm going to be. Would you want to be a chef when you grow up? Make yummy food that everybody likes to eat? My wife could do that. She makes yummy food. That's very nice, Billy, sweet Mrs. Crupp said. Who wants to go next? Maybe Susie or Fred? I said, hold the phone now. I haven't departed. Hang on to your seats, 'cause I'm just getting started. He's not done yet, is he? He has more to talk about. See, maybe instead I could be a snail trainer. Man, that would be awesome. Why, that's a no-brainer. I'll teach all my snails to do really neat tricks. They'll play dead and roll over and even fetch sticks. Of course, all those sticks will come back 2 years later, because snails are so slow. But working with snails, what could be greater? They'll do any stunt that I like. Holy moly, I'll train them to pedal a bike really slowly. Then ooze, through the huge ring of fire and crawl at a snail's pace across the high wire. Then finish by writing my name with their trails. That's right, I'll be Billy, master of snails. Look at all these snails doing tricks, like a snail circus. Would you want to be a snail trainer? Or else, maybe I'll be a lathe operator. That's a machine that turns really fast. Who makes the hydraulic torch wrench calibrator, which fine-tunes the wrench that's specifically made to retighten the nuts on the lateral blade that's directly beneath the radial sockets inside cooling systems on X-14 rockets. And since this profession's as cool as can be, well, who would be better to do it than me? Do you want to operate a lathe? Be a machinist? That'd be fun. Say, here's an idea, perhaps just for laughs. I might make my living by milking giraffes. It's oh so cliche to get milk from a cow, and I bet all those cows need a break anyhow. Imagine me milking, way up in the air, I'd use a tall ladder instead of a chair. Would you want to milk giraffes? Would that be a fun job? What? Milking giraffes? Mrs. Crupp said. Oh, please. I countered. How else would we make giraffe cheese? Now, don't interrupt me. I'm not really through yet. There's still lots of stuff that I'm planning to do yet. He's got more to talk about. Because maybe I'll be a gorilla masseuse. He'll give massages to gorillas. Would you want to do that? Or an artist who sculpts out of chocolate mousse. Would you want to sculpt things, make things out of chocolate? Or a rodeo clown, or a movie director, or maybe a professional pickle inspector, or a big sumo wrestler, or a hedge fund investor, or a smelly pit-sniffing deodorant tester. Rodeo clown? That's silly. A pickle inspector? Would you want that job? Sumo wrestler? An armpit deodorant sniffer? Ew. I don't know about that one. Or else I could be an expert on nuclear fission. Or else a foot model. A friendly mortician? A waiter? A skater? A master debater? A dinosaur dusting museum curator? A TV repairman? A sidewalk sign waver? A part-time assistant? Tarantula shaver? Those are spiders. Shave spiders? That's silly. And that's about when Mrs. Crupp said, Now, Billy, please make up your mind. This is getting quite silly. Which one of those things are you going to choose? I shuffled around and I looked at my shoes. He just doesn't know which one he wants to do. Those all sound like fun things, don't they? And finally I said, my great-grandfather Bob's been a whole lot of things. Had a whole bunch of jobs. A butcher, a barber, a bellman, a bouncer, a telephone psychic, a bingo announcer. You know what? He just turned 103, and he's still not quite sure what he wants to be. There's pictures of all the different jobs that he's had. See, I'm only 8 now, so frankly I'm hoping you'll cut me some slack if I leave my options open. Let's just wait and find out what my future brings. Hey, I might have time to do all of those things. He could have lots of jobs, couldn't he? And then the bell rang, and we all went to lunch. As I was sipping my pineapple punch, I pondered professions, those are jobs, that I'd like to enter, like brave firefighter or crazy inventor. He's still thinking of other things to do. He hasn't made up his mind yet. Or maybe, just maybe now, when I grow up, I can be a great teacher. Like dear Mrs. Crupp. Look, he made a picture for his teacher. Teachers always like to get pictures, don't we? It says, Teacher Billy for Mrs. Crupp. Love, Billy. It's just like some of the boys and girls that drove by my house with some signs and all waving. That was awesome. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story. When I Grew Up by Weird Al Yankovic. He has some pretty silly songs out there. You'll have to ask Mom and Dad. But did you find him in the story? Did you see him? I'm pretty sure he's back here in the lunchroom. Let me show you one more time. See if you can find Crazy Weird Al Yankovic. Did you see him? I'm pretty sure that's him right there. Hope you enjoyed the story, When I Grew Up. Thanks again for driving by my house. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.